So I've been one-tricking Katarina reroll in Masters for the past few days now with some pretty good results, averaging a third with an 83% top 4 rate and a 33% win rate. I'm going to go through exactly what I do to force this comp each game so that you can do the same in your games. If you follow these exact steps, I'm sure you could easily climb to Masters, and if it doesn't work for you, then you can always come scream at me in the comments. So let's get into it. First off, let's talk about why you should play this comp. There are 3 key factors I look for when trying to find a comp to one-trick. Number 1 is that it needs to be underplayed. If we're forcing this comp every game, it's not going to work if everyone else is also looking to play it too, and we'll end up going bot 4 the majority of the time. Number 2 is that we need to be able to consistently hit it each game. There are of course going to be games where we don't hit it, that's just how TFT goes sometimes, but it needs to be reliable enough for us to climb. What this means in real terms is that whatever unit cost we want the most, in this case a 2 cost, we want the other players to be buying lots of units at the same cost, but not the ones we want. This will in turn make it easier to hit our units. And the third and most obvious one is that we need the comp to have a good top 4 rate. There's no point playing a comp that can't achieve top 4s every game. So now you know the key factors to look out for, here's how we find it. First I go to the Meta TFT comp stats page and sort by pick rate. I've also filtered this by all ranks gold and above, but for more accurate results to your rank, you can filter on just the rank that you're in. I then scroll down and look for the comp with the lowest pick rate, but one that also has a positive top 4 rate. I see this Katarina comp with a really low pick rate of 0.1, a 54% top 4 rate, and an average placement of 4.3. Not only are these stats good, but they're better than a lot of the most popular comps being played today. So that is factors 1 and 3 ticked off, but what about number 2, being able to consistently hit? So I see it's a 2 cost reroll comp, which means for this to be reliable, we need other players to also be playing a lot of 2 cost units to increase our chances of hitting. So we scroll back up to look at the most popular comps. We can see that Punk is very popular at the minute, which 3 stars both Panth and Twitch, which are 2 cost units. And then there's also Bard and Kale reroll comps, which are quite popular too. So we can safely say that we have this ticked off as well. Now let's get into how to play it. So if you're not familiar with the comp, it involves using Katarina as your main carry, which you look to 3 star at either level 6 or 7, depending on the game state. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. You then slot in the superfan units as your cheap frontline, which also gets your Katarina a free item, and then finally all the Crowd Diver units to get bonus damage on Cat. There's 2 versions of the comp depending on what headliner version you get, but it makes little to no difference to the overall win rate of the comp. I've seen a lot of people mention that Country Katarina is much worse than the Crowd Diver version, but from my experience and looking at the stats, it's just not true. If anything, I've had more success with the Country version as it gives some additional frontline. The Country version looks to drop down to just 4 Crowd Diver so that you can put in Thresh as an additional Guardian and activate 3 Country. Your raw damage output in this version is reduced slightly, but you get an additional frontline in Thresh and Hecarim to buy more time for your Cat to do damage. So in the end it balances out to be the same amount of damage, but just over a longer period of time. Augment suggestions are mainly focused around healing, hitting 3-star Cat as soon as possible, and getting the items we need. So for tier 1 we have team building to hit Cat quicker, Harm Assist to heal, and Pandora's items to hit the items that you need. Tier 2 we have similar suggestions, so Heroic Grab Bag similar to team building, Harm Assist 2, and Idealism as it gives you a free Hodge, which is the main item we need for Cat. Tier 3 is definitely more flexible as it is the most premium augment tier, but the 3 I look out for are Jeweled Lotus as it's great on Cat and it lets you skip getting a JG in favour of something with more damage such as Death Cap. New Recruit as it lets you slot in some additional traits earlier than normal such as Echo for true damage and Sentinel. Then finally again Harm Assist. Itemization is very important for Cat and she really only works with both Hodge and JG for the crit damage and healing they provide. She gets a free Hodge from Superfan, so you only need to build 1, but if you get Idealism and you've already built a Hodge, you can just stick the other one on a Crowd Diver like Zed or Yone. The next item priority after Cat should be Ionic Spark on Nico for MR Shred, and then any tank items that you can find. You don't need to worry about making anti-heal items like Red Buff or Sunfire, as Cat's ability already does that. In the opening rounds, you want to look out for a Superfan start with any item holder you can find that fits the components that you've got. For example, if you got dropped AP components to make JG, then look for something like Annie or Nami. But if you got components for something like Hodge, then you can use Yasuo or even Corki. If you manage to 2-star at least 2 units at this point and have components to slam an item like JG or Hodge, then I'd level to 4 and try and go on a win streak. Our main goal is to get to 6 with as much health and / or gold as possible, so that we can reroll for Cat without worrying about falling too far behind. Leveling up earlier also has its advantages, as it makes our board stronger and it increases our chances of seeing more Katarinas naturally, but we also want to be hitting our interest thresholds where we can. You want to level up to 5 at around stage 2-6, unless it will mean you lose an interest threshold. For example, if you're on 22 gold, I'd hold off leveling as you'd lose an interest gold by leveling to 5. Leveling to 5 is important though, as your chances of seeing a 2-cost headliner goes from 20% to 70%. You should be leveling to 6 at around stage 3-2, but you don't want to start rolling all of your gold for cat. Instead, look at putting in one of these two boards and slow rolling any gold over 50 to find your headliner cat and 2-star any of your other units. If you're healthy, rich or both, and you don't already have 6 or 7 Katarinas, then it's at this point that you can level to 7. The benefits of leveling to 7 before rolling to finish 3-star your cat is that you get increased odds of finding your 4-cost units like Zed or Thresh if you got the country version. Otherwise, you can simply slow roll at level 6 to 3-star cat before leveling. Once you've managed to 3-star cat, whether that's level 6 or 7, you want to level to 8 and look to put in either Kiana to activate 6 Crowd Diver if you have the Crowd Diver version of cat, or any frontline unit like Zac if you got the country version. 3-star cat has a very strong top 4 rate regardless of capping out your board at level 8, but doing so will make a big difference between it being a 1st or a 4th. Okay, so now you know why and how to play the comp, let's look at a real game and how to put it into practice. So we start out getting our first augment. I don't think we get anything great here, to be honest. I think we refresh all of these. Should have probably refreshed healing orbs last, as that isn't too bad in this. But we end up taking Contagion, as it's a semi-decent augment that fits into pretty much any comp that you play. So it makes sense to go for that one. We get a cat straight off the shop, and we do a quick scout here just to see if there's any other players that may look like they're going to play cat, which it doesn't seem like there is. So we slam Hodge here and a rod on cat, but I think we should have probably slammed the Hodge on Yas, as he's much stronger at this point, and we're going to sell him anyway at some point, and we can put the Hodge on cat. But it turns out it doesn't really matter too much in the long run. And now we've got 2 2-star units and a cat. We didn't really have anything that we could level up and put in to increase our board strength. We could have put in the Yone for the Crowd Diver, but again, it's still not a strong board, and I'm thinking about selling this Yone at some point to make 10 gold if we could. Coming off the carousel at stage 2-5, we managed to 2-star Lilia, and we get a Kennen here offered in the shop as a headliner. So we're going to look at selling our Yasuo for Kennen, as he fits in more to the board that we want to play later on down the line. Even though the Yas is probably a bit stronger for damage, as we are lacking a bit of damage at the minute just because our cat's still 1-star. But we have now completed both of the items that we need for cat, so we don't need to itemize her anymore. She's going to get a 3rd item from Superfan, so we can start looking at prioritizing our tank items if we find them. Yes, at this point we should probably slam the True Damage spat as well, the True Damage emblem, sorry, on cat. This would have definitely increased our board strength quite a lot, as she would get some bonus damage from True Damage, and I think we do go ahead and do that a little bit later on, but like I say, we would have saved a bit of health if we did that earlier in the game, like this round really. So second augment choice here. Again, we don't get anything great. I'm thinking about taking Crown Guarded, as it's okay. But then we see Portable Forge, which is a really good augment for pretty much any comp. But we refresh Crown Guard anyway, thinking that we're going to go for Portable Forge. But then we get Do It for the Fans, which is a great augment for this comp, as our entire front line is going to be Superfan. We also find a Nico in the shop, which now we're pretty strong. Not amazingly strong, because again, we've only got a 1-star cat. But we've got our main lineup, so we've got KDA active, we've got Superfan active, and we've got a cat and Crowd Diver. So now it's just going to be a case of leveling up to 6, and then looking for our cat 3-star, and maybe go level 7 before we do that, but I still haven't decided yet. We're pretty low in health, we've only got 83 health, we're at the bottom of the board. But here we go against a Pentakill guy. He's got Pentakill Poppy already. And it says we've only got a 12% chance of winning this according to Meta TFT's app, but we win this pretty convincingly, I'm pretty sure. Again, the healing that we get from that Superfan trait, Superfan augment, sorry, is quite good here, and the cat bouncing blades just destroys units when there's only 1 or 2 left. So we go into level 5 at stage 3-3. We pre-level to 6. So next stage we're going to actually be level 6, and we can start looking for a headliner cat. If I wanted to here, I could probably sell the Kennen headliner and replace it with the 1-star version, so that our next shop is definitely a headliner shop. But we are on a 2 win streak, and if we win this one, we will get an extra gold from that win streak. So I decided not to level up here, not to replace the Kennen, so we get the extra chance at win streaking. But we run up against a disco player with a pretty strong Yas with 3 items. Again, using him as a tank, but it definitely works, and yeah, we get destroyed here. Well, I say destroyed, it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, we still end up losing. So I should have probably sold the Kennen, but in some cases you just don't know. So going in stage 3-6, we're level 6 here. We're rolling down. We've replaced Kennen headliner, so we find our Crowd Diver cat. So we found a Thresh in the shop as well. So here we should look at selling Thresh and putting in our headliner cat. But I don't think I'd do this, or I realise a little bit too late, because the Thresh isn't doing anything for us. We've got a Crowd Diver cat, so we don't need Thresh. We'd only need him if we've got country. And yeah, we go to put him in right at the last second, and it's a little bit too late. Turns out it doesn't matter too much, as we still win this round, I'm pretty sure. And again, Meta TFT says we have a 69% chance of winning this, but I thought it'd be a lot closer than this, because that Gnar looks like he was doing some crazy damage. But our cat just dodges the Ezreal ult, which may have lost us this game if she didn't do that. I'm not sure. Maybe she would have just survived and the ability would have got off and we won. So yeah, going into this next round now, we're in Wolves. We're just rolling for our cat. We only need 3 more. I finally realised that I should sell the Thresh and put in both cats. So now we're going to roll for cat, look to 3-star her and put in a 4th Crowd Diver. And once we've got 4 Crowd Diver plus Katarina 3, we're pretty much stable until the very late stages of the game, and we can just go straight to level 8 or 9. So we don't get anything really off the carousel. We're looking for Ionic Spark for Nico, and we do get an Edge of Night, which we can put on Yone or Zed if we find them. So here we managed to get cat pretty early. I wouldn't say we've exactly high rolled this game, but hitting cat 3 at 4-1 is a pretty decent stage to hit her. We're now at 4 Crowd Diver, and we can look at going to level 8 pretty safely in the middle of the pack. So I've skipped ahead quite a bit here. We're now level 8. We've gone on a 7-game win streak, and I haven't really changed the team comp at all in 7 rounds. We've managed to find a Zed, so we're at 5 Crowd Diver now. But again, it's nothing's changed really. We managed to 2-star Nico, but that's about it. So this board has pretty much carried us all the way to stage 5-2 without investing too much gold. So here we just cat does cat things, bopping that guy, he's dead. And then we are going to skip to the very late stage of the game, because like I say, we don't really change our board at all, and we go straight to level 9. So here we're level 9. This is what the final board looks like. We've got a 2-star Kiana, a 2-star Zed, and a 3-star Katarina, which are our main carries. And like I say, you would really struggle unless there's some high-rolling Heartsteel players. This board should pretty much beat nearly every board going. So yeah, here we go against the Disco player, which I'm quite surprised Disco player ended up in 2nd place. Maybe this lobby was a bit weaker. I can't really remember, to be honest, too much. But yeah, we pretty easily win this with the amount of damage we have, and a 2-star Kiana with Blacksmith's gloves. So yeah. Anyway, hope you found this guide helpful. If you do try this comp out, let me know how you get on in the comments below. Hopefully it does well for you like it has for me. But if it hasn't, feel free to come into the comments and complain about it.